Hi, I'm Lloyd from Bumstead Bicycles, and we're a local Trek dealer here in Southern California, and we just set up the Fuel EX5. It is a Trek's entry-level full suspension mountain bike. If you're riding a hardtail now and have been just really wanting a full suspension bike and couldn't justify the money that maybe some of your friends have spent on full suspension, I would suggest you look at the Fuel EX5. Reasonably priced, but the most important thing, you get the same suspension design as the more expensive bikes. Not as expensive shock, but the pivot points in the design that Trek uses all the way up their line in the Fuels is the same. So you're not getting an inferior suspension design. Tried and true, Trek has been making Fuels for years. One of their patented things is that their rear pivot is at the axle. The big advantage to this, a lot of other companies will use the pivot here or here. What a Trek has found is at the axle, when you apply the rear disc brake, it doesn't affect your rear suspension. That's huge. You're going down a steep, bumpy trail, you need to be on the brakes and rolling, you're hitting bumps. Other companies, you hit that back brake, this whole rear suspension stiffens up. With this design, still very plush, hits all the bumps, even though you're on the brakes. Great, especially for more entry-level riders, that's a huge benefit. Again, going over this, they use Shimano components on this model. It's a Dior rear derailleur shifter. They use Shimano hydraulic disc brakes. Shock on this is a Fusion rear shock, totally adjustable air, one-by system like almost everything these days. The frame, hydroformed aluminum. What that means is that you're gonna see really cool shapes in the aluminum. The days of aluminum frames being just round or square tubing, the engineers can get on there and design amazing shapes to make it very stiff, very light. And a lot of customers come in thinking these are carbon bikes because of the shapes. But if you look carefully, you can see the welds. It is a welded aluminum frame. All of the cables internally routed. Great. From a mechanic standpoint, for years when all the cables were to the outside, mountain bikes get in the dirt and mud. This just makes much better for maintenance and reliability of your shifting. Front shock, RockShox. Again, tried and true, can't beat these guys. It is boost width, which means it's a little wider than a traditional tire. You can go up clearance-wise to a 2.6. Tire widths have just gotten so much bigger than they were in the past, and luckily the tire companies make a very lightweight tire in these widths, so no disadvantage there. By going to a wider tire, it's not substantially heavier than like they used to be, so you get tons of traction without the disadvantage of a big heavy tire. At this price point, can't beat it. Dropper post. So again, on the downhills, you can slam that seat. All of a sudden an uphill comes, you need better pedaling efficiency. Hit the button, you're ready to go. Trek also has designed so that when you do hit or fall, they call it the knock block. And what it is it's a stopper system so that this handlebar won't spin all the way around and that the fork won't impact the frame. Makes it so that they don't have to make a funny shape here. Engineers have found that a straighter down tube is stiffer than a lot of tubes that come over and curve down. And the other companies will do that so that this fork won't impact the frame. So again, Trek using technology to make the bikes perform better, be more reliable. Just an awesome bike. If you can, go rent one somewhere. I know for a lot of people, it's tough to justify the money for full suspension. If you can, rent one and go for a ride. Again, highly recommended the Trek Fuel EX5. Thanks for listening.